Hey everyone. For those of you who are new here, I'm Josh, and in this video I want to discuss this modern phenomenon that I've noticed where it seems like a lot of people have dead eyes. Like they almost look like they're dead inside, and it's really interesting because I've seen this a lot. And I live currently in Los Angeles, so I imagine it's probably a bit more widespread in big cities for various reasons that I'm about to jump into, but it's such a fascinating thing that I wanted to discuss this and see if any of you have also witnessed this phenomena, because it's pretty weird. But anyway, let's dive into it. So this is something I've noticed somewhat often, more often than I'd care to admit, while dating in LA. I've noticed a lot of women here seem to have these dead eyes, and I've also noticed it when out and about with other people. I've noticed it with coworkers I've worked with. I've noticed it with people at the grocery store and people working as a cashier and whatnot, and it's just so common that I wanted to talk about this, because I believe there are a lot of things causing this, and one of the big ones being that a lot of people aren't happy with their lives. Because if you're not happy with your life, you're probably going to look a bit dead inside. If you're struggling to find meaning and fulfillment in your life, it may show through your eyes. You know how people often say that our eyes are like the window to our souls? Well, this kind of is true for the most part. Our eyes tend to betray our emotions, whatever we're feeling, and whatever we're consistently feeling on a day-to-day basis will definitely show up in our eyes. You can tell when someone is happy in their life. You can also tell when someone isn't doing so well. So the fact that this dead inside look is so freaking common tells me that a lot of people are probably a bit unhappy in my area in Los Angeles. I don't know how widespread this is, but I would assume it's mostly something that impacts big cities, because here you have a lot of people who just have to work all the time to be able to afford living here, because it's expensive in almost every single big city out there. You pay more for the increased opportunities. There are more jobs here, there are higher paying jobs, but with that, you have to work more, and you have to basically dedicate your life to whatever you're doing to be able to live in the area, because it's usually a lot more expensive to live in a big city because of the fact that everybody and their mother wants to live there for the increased opportunities. So you get a lot of people who are probably a bit unhappy doing their 9 to 5 because it's something they're doing just to survive, or just because they want to make a lot of money. But there's not a whole lot of meaning and fulfillment in the work that they're doing, because they're doing it just to get by, not because they actually want to. How many people out there would actually work all the time if they didn't have to? Very few, right? So there you go. I wager that's probably one of the main culprits that's causing people to look like they're dead inside. But another thing that I wager could be contributing to this is social media. The fact that nowadays it's so easy to fall victim to playing all these ridiculous comparison games where you're constantly comparing your life situation and who you are as a person to other people out there. But that's not helpful, right? Because you'll always find someone who's got something better than you. Whether it be that they're a legitimately better person than you because they've done more inner work, or maybe they have more means by which to help other people, or because they have more money so they're able to afford a nicer car, a nicer house, and so on, or because they have a family and that's something you want but haven't been able to get to just yet. There's so many ways where we can compare ourselves to other people and come up short. And I wager social media makes people play this game way more often than they like to, and they end up unhappy because of it. Because they compare themselves to others, and then they think, hey, I'm not where I want to be in life right now. My life journey doesn't look like what I desire. And they only think that way because they're comparing themselves to other people. And it's horrible. So I wager this probably contributes to some extent as well. But there's so many different factors, so many cultural movements and whatnot that could be contributing to people ending up unhappy. I made a post probably like a week ago or so on Instagram where I was basically talking about how it seems like nowadays there are a lot of ways for young adults to get kind of lost in life. Like there are a lot of movements and other things out there that claim to help people, but when you start going down these movements and getting immersed in them, you find out that maybe they're not actually helping people as much as we thought they were. A good example of this is how feminism actually has some negative consequences and is leading to a lot of women ending up unhappy. And it's not because feminism is a bad movement. It's great that women are having the same rights as men, so that's not the issue. what the issue is how it's created certain movements like the Me Too movement that have made it so that men are now afraid to approach women at work that they find attractive and talk to them, because if you do that, you could lose your job. Even if you're not being creepy, right? You could still lose your job and end up in a lot of trouble. And now it's more difficult to have relationships with coworkers and whatnot, which, remember, in the past, like even 50 years ago, jobs used to be one of the main methods where people met their significant other. That's where people would meet up and get married. That isn't really going to be a thing anymore, at least not in Western countries, because the feminist movement has unfortunately had that negative consequence, which Me Too is a great movement, right? Exposing all the craziness and all the power dynamics that you have with CEOs and powerful people in companies where they use women who don't have as much power to get favors and whatnot to try to help those women advance their careers. It's great that the Me Too movement has exposed that. But the problem with it is that some women have used that movement for nefarious purposes. They've lied about men doing things to them when it never even happened. And those lies, because oftentimes, the courts and the media will take the side of these women because usually women are kind of portrayed as being more innocent and whatnot than men. So since that happens, men are now afraid to go after women at work, even if they really find her interesting and attractive and they'd like to get to know her, and even if they could potentially be great matches for each other. Men are often not going to risk it. They're not going to talk to that woman. They're not going to pursue her at all in a romantic sense. So it's unfortunate how we have these side effects, these consequences to what would otherwise be pretty good movements. Like, they're not bad at all, but they create these consequences that end up hurting people. And that's just one example. There are tons of these things out there. I could go into like the red pill for young men and how that can also lead them astray, because for the most part it is a good movement showing them about female psychology and all the dangers of relationships and marriage and whatnot. But then again, there's like a radicalized side of red pill that makes it so men start giving up on dating, which isn't good. And there's kind of like a radical side of feminism as well, where you get these like man-hating women who say that all women should be independent and never have a man in her life and whatnot. That's also going to lead to a lot of women being unhappy. So there's just so much happening out there. So many things that seem good at first glance, but then end up leading people astray, making them unhappy, that I wager, when you put all these things together, contribute to a lot of people looking dead inside because they're unhappy. They've been bamboozled. They went down a route that they thought would make them happy in life, and now they're finding out that's not the case. The veil has been lifted from over their eyes, and they found out the truth, and they're unhappy over it. And go figure, right? Why would any of us be happy when we find out the truth of something, when we find out that something we believed was going to make our lives better, make us happier, ends up not doing so? It's kind of like the American dream that all Americans were sold like 50, 60 years ago, and everybody was pursuing that. And then over time, they started to realize that dream was becoming harder and harder to reach. And now it's such a dream that you have comedians saying the only way you can believe in it is when your eyes are closed, when you're sleeping, right? Because you're literally dreaming. And that feels real now, because my generation certainly is going to struggle to be able to afford a house nowadays. It's unfortunate. There's all these things contributing to people ending up unhappy over time. The world just isn't the way it used to be. And those are just some of the reasons that I believe could be contributing to people looking dead inside. There are probably a ton of other factors contributing to this, but these are just the ones that I managed to think of off the top of my head to make this video in the here and now. But it's unfortunate, right, that there's so many factors out there that are leading to people being unhappy, looking dead inside, not having any life behind their eyes because there's no meaning or fulfillment in their life currently. And I don't want to make this video all sad and have no positive aspect to it, so I'll try to end it with some advice to help you avoid this, or to help you with anyone you may know who has this lifeless look behind their eyes. And that is, strive to find meaning and fulfillment in your life. Do the things that you enjoy, the things that make you feel alive. Those are incredibly important, right? I would wager you should never stop doing those things and never give them up for anything else. And don't give them up for your career. Don't give them up for a relationship. No, don't give them up for anything. The things that make you feel alive are incredibly important. Do them more often, way more often. Try to do them on a daily basis if you can, because there's a reason that they make you feel alive, right? do those things. Find meaning and fulfillment by doing the things that make you feel like your time here is actually worthwhile. And another useful thing is figuring out your life purpose, but of course we all know that is an incredibly complicated thing. And really the only advice I can give you there, because this is such a complicated thing, is just to think about the things that used to give you a lot of meaning when you were a kid, and think about what kind of careers relate to those things. If maybe it's something creative, then now you know you should probably pursue a creative career, like something in art or design or something like that, something where you're able to make things, whether it be with your hands or with your mind. Or if you really used to enjoy helping other people, that is also something that could be turned into a life purpose, where you help them have better lives, like life coaching or therapy or things like that. Or maybe you really enjoyed leading people, so maybe you'd be a great manager. Maybe you really enjoy having a team and helping them achieve their goals and dreams in life, even if that means letting them go on to a different company. But if you're able to train them up so that they can then pursue better things in their life, that is worthwhile. That is you having a huge impact on their lives. So there's so many things that you can think about that you used to enjoy doing that may be applicable in a career, and that can help you find your purpose. But again, this is really just something you're going to have to spend a lot of time thinking about and asking yourself a ton of questions about what you enjoy doing, what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel like your time here is actually worthwhile and meaningful. And then combine all those things together and figure out what you can do for work that applies. That's really the best advice I can give you there, because finding your life purpose is otherwise a pretty complicated thing. But I truly hope that that has been helpful. That's pretty much all I have for you in this video. I just wanted to talk about this interesting phenomenon where a lot of people look dead inside, and it's very unfortunate, but hopefully the little tips I've shared here at the end have been useful if you have been a victim of this yourself, or if you know other people who have that lifeless look in their eyes and they need to find purpose and meaning and fulfillment in their lives. But hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here and you enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe for more. If you've already subscribed, be sure to throw a thumbs up on the video for the algorithm, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.